All right, folks, before we get started, I have a serious question. How come every time I take a break, it's always, he died, he's dead, something happened? It's never that, hey, he's on vacation, or hey, he's enjoying life, or hey, he's just busy, or hey, he's a lazy sack of crap and forgot about us. It's always, he did. Come on now. But anyways, how y'all doing today, folks? Welcome to Red Wolf EDC. Once again, not dead, still here. A little yoked, like been working out pretty freaking hard. Lost a whole lot of weight, turned into an absolute beanpole. And it's like I don't like that. I got a pretty sizable head in general. So me being a beanpole skinny, it's like a damn bobblehead. I looked like I was a character from Celebrity Deathmatch. Like it wasn't cool. Wasn't cool at all. So got a little bit of size on me now, doing kind of good. Nowhere near where I want to be, but it's something. But today I want to talk about a knife that kind of revitalized my interest in the hobby. And I'm going to be recording probably 3 videos back to back. So if I'm wearing the same hat, same shirt, same look, it's not because I wore the same thing 3 days in a row, though you never know, it might be. More because I'm going to be recording videos back to back to back because I got 3 different things that I'm really quite excited about. Now, the first one is a knife that is the furthest thing from practical. As you can see in the thumbnail, it is an absolute beast. It is ridiculous. It is absurd, but our hobby right now is so incredibly stagnated with just the exact same pretty much knife with infinitesimal differences. There's differences, but there's not very many. Maybe it's bigger, maybe it's small, maybe it has like a slightly different profile to it, but like it's almost exactly the same knife. And I'm really kind of over that. Lefty EDC called me jaded, and maybe I'm a little jaded, let's be honest here. But this is the Maxace knives, this big giant thing where I have the camera zoomed all the way out because it's freaking huge. Vortex. This thing is beastly. Now, to be clear, I have size 2XL hands. In particular, I have size 2XL fat hands, means I have little stubby bullshit sausage fingers, but very wide, very thick palms. Which basically means if you have hands and whenever you put a glove in there, everything is tight on the sides, but you got about this much sticking off your damn fingers, so you just hate wearing gloves. You'll probably have my hands. If you don't have that, the ergonomics for you are going to be very different. But for me, dude, I love this damn knife. Now, it's a big knife. I got room sticking off right here. I got room sticking off right here. If you want a basic, regular-ass EDC style knife, this ain't it. Further emphasizing that point, this clip does not work. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this on camera right now, but I actually have this pocket clip bent outwards. So it's literally out like that. Because originally this would not, and I mean absolutely would not go in the pocket. It's just not happening. Or if you got it in there, you picked the clip up, you lifted it up, you slid it in, then it would lock in so damn tight, it would tear your fucking jeans. I have very expensive jeans. Like I'm kind of a bougie bitch when it comes to the whole like wearing denim and everything else. So if I'm tearing $300 jeans, fuck that. So I bent the pocket clip out, and now it's not the most ideal thing ergonomically because it definitely does stick out a little bit, but I can feel it. I can't feel it a ton. So it's not terrible, but now it can actually be carried. And I have been carrying this knife. Now, to be clear, most people, this is a show piece. This is a ridiculous piece. Like, it's not the most practical thing ever. It's a freaking giant kukri blade. It's mirror polished. It's freaking Damascus or Mokutai. I forget which one this is. Big. It's thick. The blade stock in particular is pretty freaking ridiculous. Like, it's not practical, but I'm 6'8". I have size 2XL hands, and I'm not a very practical person in general. So I carry this, I have used it, and overall, I absolutely love this knife. Now, the pocket clip is just absolutely ridiculous. That should not ship that way. It's really hard to see on camera, but normally speaking with the pocket clip, it's the example here with this Medford. This is where the actual thing, so it tapers down, has like a fatter piece right here. And the camera's facing the opposite direction, so I can't see on screen right now. So this is completely out of focus. I apologize. I'm trying here. But it'll have this piece right here to where most of the clip is open, and it kind of tapers down to this little piece right here, which actually is the retention. Cannot talk. This, on the other hand, the retention starts way the hell up here for some ungodly reason and goes all the way down. As a consequence, it's very hard, if not impossible, to get into your pocket without actually taking the clip, pulling it out, and then sliding it in your pocket. On an upside, I guess, it's pretty much impossible to get out. Like, you literally have to, again, take the pocket clip, lift it up, and then slide it out. So, not ideal. This knife is probably not made for carry. Most people probably are not going to carry or actually use it more of like a show piece, but I'm just not a show type of guy. I'm just not. So for me, this is very much a user. And my dog is currently running around in circles right now. So if the camera gets knocked over, you see a big giant ass 110-pound black mass just tackle my ass. That's what it is. I'm fine, y'all. But it's not a practical piece. But for me, it's almost the fun of it. Again, I'm so stagnated with the knife hobby right now. There's like almost everything coming out is just the same shit. I watch SHOT Show and I'm like, oh, that's the same. Oh, that's a different version of something that came out last year. Oh, that's also the same. That's also the same. Even Midgard, which is a knife company that I really kind of love because they go in like different directions. They're like, hey, here's the large Valhalla. Here's the small Valhalla. Here's this other design we have, but it's like the size of a fucking house. Okay, you know, it's just bigger. It's the same thing though. It's losing some of that ingenuity and beauty and kind of the artistry of it all, and it just becomes like the basic, copy machine. This is not that. This 100% pushes the envelope in a multitude of directions. It is absurd. It is gaudy. It is frankly terrifying. I cut my sandwich with this damn thing, and literally a packed diner that is very, very loud. Everyone's chattering and talking. Next thing you know, I whip this thing out, you hear a smack, and it echoes throughout the goddamn diner, and everyone gets quiet. And I'm not paying attention, right? So I'm just fucking like sawing through my sandwich. Girl taps me on the shoulder and goes, babe, you're scaring people. I look up, there's like 30 people just staring at me wide-eyed, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, oh, sorry, y'all. My bad, just a knife. Not a serial killer. So for that, it's not practical, but it definitely is fun. Now, as far as the usability, the edge geometry on this thing, honestly, is fantastic. This is a goddamn laser beam, and it has a blade stock like that. I mean, I ain't got much near me right now, but I don't know. Here is a Medford 187, which is mostly considered to be a big stocked knife, nice thick knife. That's it right there. It's about twice as thick as the actual Medford. Now, it's not Praetorian tie levels for this Medford, though this is probably about the same size as Praetorian tie if I had to guess. So it's a very thick knife, but it also just cuts really, really well as it grinds down to a very thin edge geometry. Like, that thing is really nice. You also have this kind of like blasted finish right here, which contrasts very nicely with the actual mirror. So you have a knife that is honestly beautiful, but also very, very functional. As far as the opening, you can thumb roll it. Sure, it's on camera. You can thumb roll it pretty nicely, actually. You can middle finger flick it very nicely, actually. And kind of another one of the problems with this knife, you can just do this. Like, I mean, barely. Look. The detent on this thing, and mind you, it's a very thick blade. It's a very long blade. So for the detent to be like very snappy and to lock your blade in, it's not going to be impossible, but it's going to be pretty damn hard. But at the same time, like, every angle, every time, like, come on. There is a very fundamental problem with that. Now, again, to be clear, it's almost not designed to be carried. I've carried it a lot. I had this knife for about a week now. I was going to record an unboxing, but wasn't really feeling it. So I just decided to actually carry, do an actual first impressions. The blade is not open in my pocket. There's not been any problems like that. I don't think there will be, but that's pretty sloppy. There is no detent lash because there's no detent. Like, if you try to pull it out or to wiggle it for lash, it just opens. Like, so that's not great. But again, it hasn't opened my wow. But again, it hasn't opened in my pocket yet, so that's a good thing. As far as the ergonomics, now, for most people, this is going to be interesting because there's so many different places to hold it. You can be up here, down here, yada, yada, yada. So you'll probably find some place to where it's ergonomically great for you. But like for me, this little kind of thing it hooks into, like this is designed for somebody with my size of hands. Even a little bigger, because I have room right here and I have room right here. This is a very large knife. But ergonomically for me, honestly, and this is the biggest shock for me ever, because this knife does not look, ergonomic. The 10. It feels amazing. There are no hot spots, no warm spots, no cold spots. Just, again, that perfect Goldilocks feel. Now, the clip, terrible. That should be fundamentally redesigned entirely. I do not understand why they did that. That's just dumb. But blade, fantastic. Ergonomics, fantastic. The way it looks is either you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. And there's not gonna be much middle ground there. So this is either badass to you and awesome to you the way it is me, or it's not. And that just is what it is. But for me, I love the way it looks. There is not another knife out here, short of like the Jason knife folding kukri design, that even comes close to this. And even that Jason knife design, it still doesn't come close to this. Now, it has one of the pouches or whatever, extra hardware, a bunch of stuff like that. It also has a locking thing for this, so where it basically becomes a fixed blade. That's more of a European thing. We're not required to have that in the States, and I'm never going to use that, frankly. So, it's a thing, it's a feature, I guess, but I don't personally understand it. So, as far as size comparison, again, I have very few things around me right now, but this is a Medford 187 Tonto. Yeah, this is a big knife. This knife makes this knife look small. It's pretty ridiculous. So you think about a PM2 or a PM3 or like a Benchmade Reptilian or a Bug Out. This knife makes all of those things look pretty comically tiny. And this knife makes that thing look pretty comically tiny. So you get an idea that this is probably not the most practical carry or using piece, unless you're like me, just a little psycho. For me, I love it. Now, as far as overall, and I mean a just overall first impression, this is not a true review yet. That'll come 5 to 6 months down the line if I still use it. But as far as the first impressions, I gotta be honest, like, this is not gonna be a 10 for probably anybody else. It might be a 1 for you, might be a 2 or a 5 or a 6, but it's probably not gonna be a 10. For me, right now, this is just everything I wanted. So for me, it's a very, and I cannot stress the fact enough, right? It is a very biased 10. I love this damn knife. You might, probably not. Very small chance, but possibly. But that's my first impressions of the Maxace Vortex 2.0 in Damascus / Mokutai. This is an M390 blade, gorgeous kukri shape, big, thick, beastly, ridiculous. The pocket clip is freaking terrible. terrible, but after you bend it, you know, it works, it's functional enough. And again, I can't really feel it in hand. Like it's there, you can hear it clicking. That's the clip because it's raised off the scale, but it still just feels fantastic. It felt a little better before, but it's still fantastic. And I just don't even care. So again, a very, very biased 10. Definitely do your research, and if you can, try to get this knife in hand, borrow someone's knife, go to like SHOT Show or Blade Show or whatever to actually feel it in hand, because there's just more than likely a pretty solid chance you're going to hate it. I don't. I love it. I'm super happy I got it. But as always, folks, I love you all. Please take care and bye-bye. Ooh, I'm happy.